Hi everyone. I am not wearing my glasses because the ring light that I have to use in this room is annoying. You can see the lights in my glasses. It's embarrassing, so I'm not wearing my glasses. Anyway, hi everyone. Welcome back to my little bookish channel. I'm Allie, and today I just thought we could do a bit of a casual video. It's most likely going to be quite short. I want to just talk about my intentions in terms of my reading for 2025. I will admit I have been thinking about this quite often, especially coming into 2025. I think my main intention, I guess, I'm going to be saying that word a lot this video, is to read just more slowly, just to take things calmly. I'm not in a competition. I don't need to read really, really fast. I want to take time to spend with books because they're like reading and like the process of reading is very much such a core part of my like self-care. It's the way that I ground myself. It's the way that I kind of help with my anxiety and my depression. It really just helps. And I don't know why I want to read books so fast. It's because of that godforsaken reading goal. So I've made my reading goal just a very low 70 for me. It may even go lower. I don't know what this year is going to bring, so I didn't want to add the expectation on myself that I wanted to read, over 100 books. If that happens, that's great. If it doesn't, that's also great because it means that I'm taking myself seriously, I think that goal or that intention really spans so much because I also want to just read more bigger books. I love reading, obviously, but there's something about a gigantic book. So a big book is over 500 pages. Something about a big book that I just love it. I think because, especially if I'm enjoying it, it just means that you are just so much more immersed in the story. You are with the characters and the world for, quite a long time. And I feel as though every big book that I read, majority of the time, I am talking in generalizations here. I don't have any statistics to back me up. But majority of the time with big books, I end up absolutely loving them. And I want that back. I want that back. So I do have a few classics that I would like to read that are kind of big classics. I don't really want to work from a list. I do know that I would love to read The Brothers Karamazov this year. I have it just over there, but I can't be bothered getting it. So just believe me. I would really love to read The Brothers Karamazov. I've missed Russian literature. I just miss it. I miss reading classics. I think I mentioned this in a previous video. I didn't read any classics in 2024, and I feel as though, I don't know, I feel like something was missing from my reading last year because I love it. I love reading classics so much. So I would like to tick off The Brothers Karamazov in 2025. I think that would be quite a fun challenge. I would also like to reread The Tenant of Wildfowl Hall by Anne Bronte. Anne Bronte is the best Bronte. Is that a controversial opinion? She's the best Bronte. I read The Tenant of Wildfowl Hall, oh my god, years ago, when Hannah, my sister from another mister, gave me her copy to read. If you heard my stomach rumbling, no, you did not. And I fell in love with it. It was exceptional. It was amazing, but it's a chunky girl. Okay, so I would really like to reread that. I do find myself sometimes I do find myself sometimes being unable to justify rereads. And I think that ties into this idea of like, I have to constantly read new books, not brand new books or new releases, but more just books that I have not read that are on my TBR. And so I don't seem to like to reread books that are not in a series that I need to read in order to read the next one coming out, kind of thing. I didn't realize how hungry I was. If you can hear heavy breathing, it's my dog. Yeah. They're the two main big classics that I would like to read. I'm not putting anything on the list. I don't want a list. I think we have established that I'm a huge mood reader. I don't necessarily abide by my lists that I create because the year is just crazy. Sometimes it can just turn out to be the most random thing. In a similar vein to reading with intention, reading slowly, I have decided, and I've kind of already started this, that I love epic fantasy. And I forgot that I loved epic fantasy. Towards the end of last year, I was picking up more epic fantasy. I was like, why haven't I been doing this all year? And I think it's because it requires commitment. And for some odd reason in my head, I was like, I can't start a long epic fantasy series because I'm in the middle of reading the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan. And so I'm just like, I'm not going to start anything else until I finish the Wheel of Time. But life is too short, okay? Life is too short to not read and love epic fantasy. So I made the decision coming into 2025 that I'm going to read at least one other epic fantasy. I am planning on starting another epic fantasy series. It just like depends on how 2025 goes. But my plan is I'm going to alternate between 3 different epic fantasy series because why the fuck not? I make the rules. And why wouldn't I want to read incredible, amazing books? So I am filming this on the 8th of January. I am currently reading not currently, but I'm waiting. It's a whole drama. Anyway, I started the Mistborn Trilogy Era 1 by Brandon Sanderson. Now, this is going to be part of my year-long project and most likely into 2026 as well, because I'm not planning on finishing the Cosmere this year, more just starting it. But I want to read books in the Cosmere universe by Brandon Sanderson. So I'm starting with the Mistborn Trilogy Era 1. I have a reading order that I'm abiding by. I'm really excited. And I have finished the first book in the Mistborn trilogy and it's amazing. And then I was like, okay, so I finish one series or one trilogy, however it is, and then I'll swap. So for instance, January, I'll be reading the Mistborn Trilogy Era 1. February, I think I'm going to read the Farseer Trilogy by Robin Hobb and delve into the realm of the Elderlings because, again, life is too fucking short to not read amazing epic fantasy books. And these 2 specifically have been kind of on my list of epic fantasy series that I really want to get to. So why can't I? Why can't I? I'm allowed to. I'm an adult. For instance, I will then read book 6 in the Wheel of Time series, in the following month. So does that kind of make sense? I'll be just alternating. It doesn't necessarily have to be per month. It just means if I read one series in one universe, when I finish that series, I will then turn to another universe. So then if I read that, I'll go to another universe. It's just, I think that's going to be the most fun for me. And I'm really excited about it, to be frank. I forgot how much I enjoy epic fantasy. So that's my main reading project for the year. I also would like to continue my reading in my 30s project, which if you don't know, is a project that I started on my channel maybe last year or the year before, possibly last year. How long have I had YouTube? I'm not too sure. Anyway, most likely last year, where I read books that a lot of people typically read in their youth that are really foundational and kind of a core part of their reading journey that they absolutely loved. And so I guess you could say in a way that they're like classic middle grade / young adult type of series or books. And I'm doing it for the first time as a woman in my 30s. So I would like to continue that because I read the Percy Jackson series, I read the His Dark Material series, and they were amazing. They were fantastic. And I want to do that again. I want to continue doing that. I think the options for this year that I'm just like thinking about The Heroes of Olympus by Rick Riordan, which I'm calling like Percy Jackson era 2. We have Earthsea Chronicles by Ursula K. Le Guin. And I think we also have the Inkheart series by Cornelia Funk as 3 possibilities of like 3 different projects for this year. But those ones, because I'm reading entire series, they take a bit more time. So if I want, for instance, if I want to have a video ready for the Heroes of Olympus series by March, I have to start reading them obviously now. So it takes a lot of planning. So we'll see what happens with that because I kind of want to see how my year is going to look before I make any commitments. But I think that'll be really fun because I have missed it. I would like to eventually read like the Divergent series and Hunger Games. I've never read them. I really want to have fun with reading this year. Last year, especially towards the end of the year, from like October to December, I had the most fun reading. And I don't know why. I think it was maybe because I was reading more fantasy and epic fantasy and literary books. And I was just really having a good old time. And I want to just continue that type of energy in 2025. I want to have fun with my reading and read fun books. I have like written down my little projects. I will say also, as part of my intentions, I think I have an entire video. It should be out, but by the time I put this out, I want to do the Read Good Challenge, which is a challenge created and hosted by Ben at Ben Reads Good. So that's a project that I'm also doing a year long, which is really exciting. And I also want to focus on reading nonfiction. Last year, I realized that I actually enjoy nonfiction books. Who would have thought? And I realized that I was reading the wrong nonfiction. I am not a biography girly. I am not a memoir girly. I think some essay collections are fantastic and others, depending on the topic, are just not for me. But last year I realized that I love nonfiction when it's about topics, surprise, surprise, that actually interest me. And I think I did talk about this in my nonfiction favorites of 2024, but I realized that I don't have to have such a hard distinction between like reading nonfiction for fun and reading nonfiction for work, because I love the topics that I research, the topics that I'm in kind of research projects for. Like there's a reason why I'm doing them. It's because I freaking love what I'm doing, right? I love kind of this intersection of like gender, sexuality, and religion, especially. But I love history. My first love was history, right? Like I love history, and I love reading books that kind of bring different aspects of those together. I read a lot of gender theory last year. I read a few random books about neoliberalism and kind of women's history and the position of women. I love space, so I read a couple of space books. Like, nonfiction can be fun. And I was so constantly in my head about, no, I can't read academic texts as part of like my nonfiction reading for pleasure, because that's not for pleasure, that's for work. It's like, no, it's actually for pleasure as well. Like they can be both. They can exist alongside each other, because I have so much fun reading those books. So I went on a Judith Butler obsession. Like it's just these things that for some reason I went in my head about and created rules that didn't need to be created. And so because of that, I feel as though my nonfiction reading has really opened up, and I'm much more interested in reading nonfiction books about particular topics. So that is really exciting. I have a few that I would like to read. I read a book called The Politics of Nonviolence, I think it's called, by Judith Butler. I mention it as an honourable mention in my nonfiction faves, and that was more about political philosophy and political theory. So I've picked up a book, well, technically 2 books about it that I would like to get into a bit more. I've got some books on queer theology and queer religiosities, which I think is going to be really interesting. I also have another book by Judith Butler that I'm excited to get into, and it's fun. It's going to be fun. I have a new space book that I'm really excited about, and I'll most likely talk about these throughout the year. I'm excited about it. I do have, I think, one memoir on my TBR shelf still, and I'm going to keep it there because I've heard so many great things about it. I forgot the title, but it's by Deborah Levy. I'll have it here. And I do want to read that book just to see whether or not it's for me, because everyone loves it. But everything else, it's kind of within the realm of gender theory and sexuality and theology. I also have, I think, 1 book or 2 on motherhood and like the politics of motherhood, which is really interesting. So yeah, that's actually all of my reading intentions. So 2025, I'm actually done now. I'm just really excited for what this year is going to bring, just in terms of life and career-wise, but also just reading-wise. I don't know, I think the way that I'm coming into 2025 is very different to the way that I came into 2024 and even the previous years. I think, I don't know, I feel as though I want more meaning, if that makes sense. Like, I'm coming into 2025 like, okay, this is what I want. This is what I would like. This is what I have to remember about myself. And I don't want to be the way that I was last year, in regards to being sick constantly, but also just not having a very good work-life balance. I burnt myself out. I'm still really struggling with getting into a routine with work because I just want to sleep. And it's really interesting because I was having such great sleep when I was on my little 2-week break. But the minute that I start work, I'm exhausted. I could sleep right now, like just constant exhaustion. So it's been really interesting I'm trying to break this, I guess, like reflex for me to just overwork myself. Like, I've found myself working until like 6:30 on Monday, and I was like, what am I doing? Like, it's the first day of work. What am I doing? Just stop. I'm allowed to stop. I've done what I need to do today, kind of thing. So I'm coming into 2025 with a really big understanding of my own personal flaws and the things that I need to ensure that I'm doing to take care of myself. Because 2025 is my villain era, I've decided. It's the year where I am allowed to prioritize myself and my health and my well-being. I don't have to say yes to things. I can say no. I am allowed to. That's that. Period. Full stop. That's it. So thank you so much for listening to me talk about this. I really missed having this sort of outlet. So I just want to thank you for your support. It's been really fun. I think part of the needing to make sure that I take care of myself is also making sure that I have some sort of creative outlet. And I've been really honing in to like hobbies that I love doing, like journaling and writing, but also just this, like just talking to a camera about the books that I am reading and want to talk about. I think it's fun. I need to make sure that I continue doing it because I need to make sure that I have this. Because I realized last year that not having this and not having set aside time for like journaling in the various ways that I journal really just fucks me up, to be honest. Fucks me up. So I hope you have reflected. I hope you have also had a great start to 2025. I hope you are coming into 2025 with intention. Take care of yourself. Prioritize yourself. You are important, and we don't want us to be burnt out husks, okay? We don't want that in 2025. We want to be powerful, and if that means having to be a low-key villain, then do it. You are allowed to also say no. Okay? If you don't want to do that thing, then don't do it. If you don't want to go out tonight because you can't be fucked, then don't. You are allowed to. There will always be other times to go out. You know? Okay, I'm going to stop now. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, friends.